The silver mist moved like slow water over the alien forest. It wrapped around tall blue trees and glowing plants, making everything quiet, almost too quiet. The only sound was the soft crunch of boots on strange purple soil. Evan Hale, a human explorer, walked slowly with careful steps. His clothes were torn, his left arm was bleeding, and his breathing was heavy. His ship had crashed only an hour ago, but it felt like days. The planet looked beautiful, but dangerous. He did not know what lived here. He did not know if he would survive the night. He stopped and looked around. The mist was so thick he could barely see more than a few steps ahead. Strange shadows moved inside it, twisting and stretching like living shapes. Evan whispered to himself, "I am not alone here, someone is watching." His heart beat faster. The air felt heavy, almost alive. He raised his small scanner, but the device only made a weak beep before dying completely. The crash had destroyed most of his tech. Another sound came, soft, light, like someone stepping on leaves. Evan froze. The mist in front of him moved. Slowly, softly, as if something was walking through it. A figure appeared. At first, Evan thought it was smoke. Then the shape became clear. It was a woman. Tall, graceful, glowing slightly, as if her skin carried gentle light under the surface. Her skin was smooth with soft purple shades, almost like moonlight painted on her. Her hair was white, long, flowing, moving gently even though there was no wind. And her eyes were bright blue, shining like small stars. She was unlike any being Evan had ever seen. She was beautiful. He did not breathe for a moment. He simply stared, shocked, unsure if she was real or a dream created by fear. The woman looked at him with soft surprise in her eyes. She stepped closer, but her movements were slow, careful, as if she was afraid he might run. Evan swallowed. His voice came out very soft, almost without thought. "You are beautiful." The words slipped out naturally, like an honest breath. But the woman's reaction was nothing like he expected. Her eyes widened. Her face changed from calm to alarm. She stepped back quickly, her glowing hair shaking as she moved. She looked around the forest as if someone might have heard him. "No," she whispered. "You should not say that. Not here, not to me." Evan blinked in confusion. "What? Why? It was just a compliment. I didn't mean." She cut him off with a sharp motion of her hand. "Quiet." Her voice was soft but strong. Her eyes kept moving left and right, watching the trees, the mist, the shadows. Evan felt a cold feeling in his stomach. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Then the ground shook. A deep roar echoed through the forest, loud enough to make Evan's chest vibrate. Birds, or something like birds, flew up from the trees. Strange creatures screamed from far away. The mist around them shivered. The woman suddenly grabbed Evan's wrist with surprising strength. "Run," she said. She did not wait for him to answer. She pulled him into the mist. Evan followed, stumbling behind her, confused but understanding one thing clearly. Something very big was coming. He could hear heavy steps behind them. Trees cracked. The ground trembled again. The roar came once more, louder this time. Evan ran harder. The woman's grip was firm but warm. She moved fast, almost floating across the ground. Evan had to use all his strength to keep up. His lungs burned, his arm hurt, but he pushed through. They reached a large fallen tree and crouched behind it. The woman placed one hand on the bark, and a soft light spread over it, hiding their energy signatures. Evan stared at her glowing fingers in shock. "You can do that?" he whispered. She did not answer. She placed one finger on her lips, telling him to stay silent. The forest became quiet again, but not peaceful. It was the silence before danger. Something massive moved in the mist. Evan could hear deep breaths, like a giant beast smelling the air. The ground shook with every step. The creature passed close to them. Evan could see a huge shadow, much taller than any tree, moving behind the mist. He held his breath. The woman did not move. Her glowing eyes watched every movement of the shadow, her body tense. After a long moment, the beast moved away. The shaking stopped. The forest slowly returned to soft natural sounds. The woman stood up slowly, letting go of her glow. Evan finally exhaled. "Can you please explain what is happening?" he asked, his heartbeat still fast. She hesitated. Her eyes softened, but there was sadness in them, and fear. "You should not have praised me," she said quietly. Evan frowned. "Why? I just told you the truth. You are beautiful." The woman closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them again, her voice was almost a whisper. "Humans do not understand the laws of my world. Beauty here is dangerous. Beauty belongs to only one person, the Queen." Evan blinked. "Okay, but what does that have to do with you?" She looked away, her voice shaking slightly. "Everything." Her answer confused him even more. Before he could ask again, distant voices echoed through the forest. Metallic. Powerful. Organized. Guards. The woman's hands tightened. "They are searching for someone," she said. "Who?" Evan asked. She looked into his eyes, and for a moment, he saw truth, fear, and a royal kind of sadness. "They are searching for me." She stepped back, her glowing hair moving like silver fire. "And you, human, you just flattered the Queen." The forest fell silent again. And Evan finally understood the danger he was in. Evan stared at the woman, his mouth slightly open. His mind repeated her last words again and again. He had just praised the Queen of this planet. A queen who was hiding in the mist, running from her own people. He took a small step back. "You're the Queen. You." The woman lowered her eyes, a soft sadness resting on her face. Her glowing hair dimmed just a little, as if her fear swallowed part of her light. "My name is Lyra," she said quietly. "But you must not speak it loud." Evan blinked. "Lyra, that's a beautiful name." She flinched again. "Do not speak it like that. Not with warmth. Not with emotion." Her voice trembled. "Someone may hear." Evan looked around. The forest seemed empty, but he could feel eyes between the mist. He felt like the trees themselves were listening. The soft sound of the distant guards grew louder. Metallic steps. Voices speaking a language he didn't understand. Energy weapons humming slowly, searching. Lyra grabbed his hand again, but this time her grip was softer, more desperate. "We must move. They are close." Evan nodded without question. Something in her voice pulled him forward. She wasn't just a queen. She was something more, something hunted. They moved deeper into the forest. The mist grew thinner in some places, revealing glowing plants and strange ruins covered in symbols. Old broken structures stood like skeletons of a forgotten world. Lyra stopped near an ancient stone arch. She ran her fingers across the carved lines. The symbols lit up in a bright soft blue. "This place is safe," she whispered. "For now." She guided Evan inside the ruin. The moment they entered, a shimmering blue wall covered the entrance like a protective shield. The sounds from outside became softer. Evan sat down on a stone, exhausted. Lyra sat across from him, watching him with a strange mixture of worry and curiosity. He finally spoke. "Okay, please explain. Why is praising you dangerous? Why would anyone care about a simple compliment?" She looked down at her hands. "On my world, beauty is not simple. Beauty is power. He frowned. Power? Yes. Her voice grew quieter. The queen is the vessel of our people's strength. She carries energy in her blood. Her appearance, her light, her voice, everything about her represents the power of the crown. She looked into his eyes. To call anyone else beautiful is a crime. Because it means comparing them to the throne. Evan leaned back, understanding the danger more clearly now. So when I called you beautiful, you broke a law, Lyra finished. A law punishable by death. Evan swallowed hard. And for you? Her eyes darkened. For me, it means I allowed a forbidden moment. And a queen is never allowed to show weakness. Evan felt a strange anger rise in his chest. That's insane. It was just a compliment. You didn't ask for it. Lyra shook her head. The council uses every moment against me. They want me to fail. They want me to lose the throne. Evan leaned forward. Why are they hunting you? What happened? Lyra hesitated. Her fingers touched a small glowing mark on her collarbone. It pulsed like a heartbeat. There was an attack inside the palace. It was not loud, not violent, but it was betrayal. She looked away, her voice breaking for a moment. I escaped before they could trap me. Evan's eyes softened. So you're running until you find someone you trust? Lyra nodded slowly. Yes. But trust is rare for a queen. People fear the throne more than they fear death. The silence between them grew heavy. Evan watched her carefully. He saw strength in her posture, sorrow in her eyes, and something fragile beneath her royal glow. She continued, you were not supposed to see me like this. Without guards. Without crown. Without power. Evan smiled a little. Honestly. I think I saw the real you. Lyra looked surprised. The real me? Yeah, Evan said softly. Not a queen. Just, a person. Her lips parted slightly. She stared at him with confusion, as if no one had ever spoken to her that way. A sudden loud noise interrupted the moment. A sharp burst of energy hitting the shield outside. Lyra stood immediately. Her eyes flashed with bright blue light. They found us. Evan went to the entrance and peeked through the glowing shield. Dark armored soldiers moved through the forest, scanning the area. Their weapons hummed with lethal power. One soldier shouted something in their alien language. Lyra translated, her voice low. They said, the queen is close. We smell her light. Evan felt his pulse rise. What do we do? Lyra turned to him, her face calm but her eyes fierce. We run again. But this time, there is no safe place left. She touched the glowing wall, and the shield faded. Evan took a deep breath. Then let's go. Lyra stepped closer. Human, one more thing. He looked at her. Yes. She whispered, almost like a secret carried by the wind. What you said earlier, the compliment, no one has ever spoken to me like that. Not with honesty. Evan smiled. Then I'm glad I did. Her expression softened for a moment, but then hardened again as the guards approached. Stay close, she said. The forest will not protect us anymore. They stepped out into the mist together. This time, the hunt had truly begun. Evan followed Lyra deeper into the forest, his heartbeat loud in his ears. The mist wrapped around them again, glowing faintly from the light of strange alien plants. Behind them, the soldiers' metal footsteps echoed like cold drums. Lyra did not run like a person who feared death. She ran like someone who feared what her own people would become if she was caught. Her glowing hair moved behind her like a trail of silver fire. Evan had never seen anyone move like her, fast, graceful, silent, but there was something else too. Weakness. Her steps were slowing. Her light was fading. Evan noticed her shoulders shake. Lyra, you're tired. She didn't look at him. A queen is not allowed to be tired. You're not in the palace now, he said, breathing heavily. You can be honest. She stopped suddenly, turning to him. Her bright blue eyes were softer now, almost human. Honesty, she whispered. It has a price, human. Before Evan could respond, a loud crack echoed from behind. A branch broke. Soldiers were close. Lyra grabbed Evan's wrist and pulled him into a narrow path between glowing trees. The path opened into a wide clearing filled with tall crystal-like plants that shimmered when touched by the wind. This place, Evan said, catching his breath, what is it? Lyra looked around, her expression unreadable. This is where my mother brought me when I was small. Before the council took control of the throne. Before my life became a cage. Evan felt a heaviness in her words. You grew up here. Lyra nodded. I was raised with hope. I was told our world would listen to a queen of peace. But the council wanted a queen of fear. Evan stepped closer. Is that why they're hunting you? Her eyes lowered. They want me to rule with iron. I refused. They want me to punish the weak. I refused. They want to use my beauty, my light, my crown, as a weapon. I refuse that too. She sighed, shaking her head. And now they want to replace me with a queen who obeys. Evan clenched his fists. That's why they're chasing you. Because you chose kindness. Lyra gave a sad smile. Kindness is the rarest crime. Before Evan could reply, the clearing lit up with red scanning lights. Soldiers entered from the right side, their weapons raised. Lyra reacted instantly. Her hands glowed bright blue. She raised a protective barrier around herself and Evan. Energy blasts hit the barrier, making it vibrate with sharp sound. Evan touched her arm. Lyra, stop. You're already weak. She didn't look at him. Her jaw tightened. I am the queen. My people do not see weakness. But I see it, Evan said. That made her pause. Just for a moment. And in that moment, a blast hit her barrier harder than the others. Lyra stumbled back, breathing heavily. Evan caught her before she fell. Her body felt light, almost weightless, but trembling. Lyra, stop fighting. Please. She looked up at him, her eyes shining with something he couldn't name. Why do you care? She asked softly. Evan answered without thinking, because you saved me. Because you're alone. Because you deserve better than this. Her expression softened again, then changed to fear. A shadow moved to their left. Something huge. Something not a soldier. Evan turned slowly. A massive beast stepped out from between the crystal plants. Its body looked like black stone, its head like a jagged blade, and its eyes burned orange. It was twice the size of any animal Evan had ever seen. Lyra whispered, a Vorik beast. They guard the old lands. The beast let out a deep growl. The ground trembled under its weight. Evan pulled Lyra behind him. Stay back. Lyra stared at him in shock. You cannot fight it. Humans are too fragile. Evan didn't listen. He grabbed a broken metallic rod from the ground, part of a crashed alien probe, and held it like a spear. The beast roared again and charged. Evan didn't move. He didn't run. He didn't hide. He stood firm. The beast came closer, its claws tearing into the soil. Lyra's voice cracked. Evan. Move. But he refused. He remembered Earth. He remembered war. He remembered survival. He had faced danger before, even if not like this. When the beast was only a few steps away, Evan jumped to the side, driving the metallic rod toward its leg. The rod sparked against the beast's stone-like skin, barely piercing it, but enough to make it stumble. The beast screeched, swinging its tail. Evan ducked, rolled, and scrambled to his feet. "Evan, stop!" Lyra cried. "It will kill you." "Not if I keep it busy." Evan shouted. "Save your energy." Lyra looked at him, shocked at his courage, or his madness. The beast roared again and lunged for Evan. This time Lyra moved. Her body glowed with blinding blue light. Her hair floated up like silver fire. She raised both hands, and a wave of energy exploded forward. The beast flew backward, crashing into the crystal plants. They shattered like glass. Evan watched in awe. Lyra fell to one knee, panting hard. Her glow dimmed dangerously. Evan ran to her. "Lyra. Are you okay?" She nodded weakly. "I used too much power." "You saved me," Evan said softly. "Again." She lifted her eyes. "And you fought for me, even when you knew you could die." He smiled. "Humans are stubborn. We fight for the people we care about." Her eyes widened at his words. She leaned against him, exhausted, and for the first time, she didn't hide her weakness. Ending suspense. A deep mechanical sound echoed across the sky. They both looked up. A massive alien ship was descending through the clouds, red lights flashing across its hull. Lyra's face paled. "The Council's warship," she whispered. "They found us, and they want you dead." The alien warship slowly descended through the clouds like a black mountain falling from the sky. Red lines of energy glowed across its surface, forming patterns that pulsed like a heartbeat. Each pulse echoed in the ground, shaking the crystal plants around Evan and Lyra. Evan felt the vibration in his bones. Lyra felt it in her spirit. "That ship," she whispered, her voice thin. "It belongs to the High Council General. He obeys no law. Not even mine." Evan stared at the monstrous craft. "So he's here to capture you?" Lyra shook her head slowly. "Not capture." Her eyes darkened. "Replace." Before Evan could react, a ramp unfolded from the ship like a long tongue. Soldiers marched out in perfect formation, dozens of them, each wearing heavy black armor, each holding advanced plasma weapons glowing red. But the one who stepped out last made Evan feel cold. The general. He was tall, broad, covered in dark metallic plates that rippled with energy. His helmet had sharp, crown-like edges, and his eyes glowed the same red as the ship. His voice boomed through the forest like thunder. "Queen Lyra of the Stellar Crown, surrender the human. He has broken sacred law." Evan felt Lyra's hand tighten around his arm. She was trembling, not from fear of the general, but from the weakness caused by her last attack. Evan stepped in front of her. "I'm not going anywhere with him." The general's red eyes locked onto Evan. "Human, you speak before the council's war leader. That itself is a crime." Lyra stepped forward, though her knees shook. "General, he is under my protection." The general raised one hand, and the air vibrated with energy. "Your protection is invalid. You broke the throne's purity. A queen must not receive forbidden praise from an outsider. The human must die to restore honor." Evan clenched his fists. "That's insane." It was just words. The general spoke with cold amusement. Words shape power. Words shape loyalty. Words break empires. Evan felt anger rise inside him. "Then your empire is broken already." A few soldiers aimed their weapons at him. But before they could fire, Lyra stepped between them, raising her hands. A dim blue shield appeared around her, but it flickered weakly. Evan whispered, "Lyra, you can't fight like this." She didn't look at him. "I must. A queen protects." He grabbed her arm gently. "Not when you're dying." For the first time, her eyes softened in front of the soldiers. For the first time, she allowed a human to touch her without fear. The soldiers murmured among themselves. This was forbidden. This was dangerous. This was history breaking in front of them. The general's voice thundered again. Step aside, Queen Lyra. You are unfit to rule. Lyra straightened her back. I am still your queen. You were, the general corrected. Until you ran. You let a human see your weakness. You let him speak to you like a person, not a throne. Evan stepped forward, fury in his voice. She is a person. The soldiers aimed their weapons again. Evan didn't move. Lyra didn't let him. She put her hand on his chest and whispered, "Do not die for me." He whispered back, "I already did." She blinked, confused. What? Evan pointed to the scorch marks on the ground, the shattered crystals, the beast's blood, the burns on his arm. I fought a monster twice your size. For you. Lyra's lips parted. Her eyes glowed brighter. The soldiers fell silent. The general's voice grew darker. Then you will die again, human. He raised his hand. But Lyra stepped forward, standing tall despite her weakness. Her glow flickered, but her voice did not. No, she said. The general lowered his hand slowly. No. This human fought beside me, Lyra declared loudly. Without power. Without crown. Without fear. Her voice grew stronger. He risked his life not for my throne, not for my strength. But for me. The forest went silent. Even the mist stopped moving. The general spoke after a long tense pause. Your words save nothing. The law is clear. He complimented you. He must die. Evan laughed dryly. Seriously? That's what this is all about. The general tilted his head. No, human. It is much bigger. He raised a clawed finger toward Lyra. She is too powerful to rule alone. Too emotional to rule with strength. Too soft to rule with fear. His voice echoed like a warning. She must be replaced. Evan stepped forward again. Over my dead body. The general's eyes glowed brighter. That can be arranged. He aimed his arm cannon at Evan. Lyra screamed, "Stop!" Her body burst into blue light. Her strongest glow yet. But instead of attacking, she stepped in front of Evan. Her back straight. Her eyes blazing. Her voice breaking with emotion. If you kill him, she said, you kill your queen too. A ripple of shock moved through the soldiers. The general froze. Lyra took a breath that shook her entire body. I choose him. Evan's eyes widened. Lyra, what are you doing? She didn't look away from the general. A queen chooses whom she trusts. And I trust the human who fought for me. The air grew still. No one moved. No one breathed. Even the red lights of the warship dimmed for a moment, as if the entire planet paused to listen. The general finally spoke, his voice low and dangerous. Then you have declared war against your own council. Lyra whispered, so be it. Ending suspense. The general raised his hand. And dozens of soldiers prepared to fire. Evan grabbed Lyra's hand tightly. Whatever was coming next. They would face it together. The soldiers stood frozen with their weapons raised. Red light from the warship shined across the clearing, turning the air sharp and tense. Evan could feel Lyra shaking beside him, her strength almost gone, her glow fading slowly like a dying star. Yet she stood tall. Between the army and the human. The general lowered his arm, studying her. His voice came out colder than the forest mist. Queen Lyra, do you understand what you're doing? Lyra's breath was weak, but her voice did not break. Yes. I am protecting the one person who did not see my crown, only me. The soldiers exchanged confused looks. Some lowered their weapons slightly, unsure how to react. No one had ever heard a queen speak with such honesty. Evan squeezed her hand. He whispered, "You don't have to do this for me." She whispered back, "You did the same for me." The generals stepped closer, each footstep like thunder. "If you stand with the human, you stand against your throne." Lyra raised her chin. "Then the throne has forgotten what it means to rule." Her words echoed through the clearing. The general's eyes glowed brighter, filled with anger. "Your rule ends today." He motioned to the soldiers. "Fire." But nothing happened. The soldiers hesitated. One of them, an older soldier with faded armor, took a slow step back. Another lowered his weapon completely. A third looked at Lyra with unsure eyes. "General," one soldier said quietly, "she is still the queen." "She defies the law," the general shouted. "And yet," the same soldier answered softly, "she shows more courage than any of us." Others murmured in agreement. Evan could feel the energy shifting. Something powerful, something old, something rightful was rising around Lyra. The general growled. "You are all weak. I will do it myself." He raised his armed cannon, aiming directly at Evan's heart. Lyra stepped in front of him again. Her body glowed bright blue, brighter than before, her hair rising with fierce energy. Even in weakness, her power stirred like a storm waking from sleep. The general fired. A huge red blast shot forward like a burning comet. Evan closed his eyes. But Lyra didn't move. Her energy burst outward in a massive wave, forming a barrier so bright that the soldiers shielded their eyes. The blast hit the barrier, and shattered like glass. The shockwave threw the general backward, crashing him into a tree so hard that the trunk broke. The soldiers stared at her in pure disbelief. Her glow dimmed again, and she fell to her knees. Evan caught her before she hit the ground. She was breathing hard, her light flickering. "Lyra, no," Evan whispered. "You'll kill yourself." She smiled weakly. "I would rather die protecting someone who sees me, than live trapped by fear." Her head fell against his chest. The soldiers looked at one another, shaken by her strength, and her humanity. The older soldier stepped forward and knelt. "Queen Lyra, command us." Lyra lifted her eyes slowly. "Lay down your weapons." The soldier nodded and dropped his rifle. The others followed, one by one, armor clanking as they knelt on the glowing ground. The general struggled to stand, but two soldiers pinned him down. "This is betrayal," he roared. "No," the older soldier said. "This is loyalty." Lyra tried to stand, but her legs shook. Evan helped her rise. She looked at her people, kneeling not out of fear, but respect. Evan whispered in her ear, "You won." She shook her head. "No, we did." She stepped forward, her voice quiet but strong as she spoke to her people. "From this moment, no life will be taken for a simple word. Beauty is not danger. Power is not fear. And no human will die for honoring me." Her words spread like light across the forest. The soldiers bowed deeper. The warship above them dimmed its red lights as if responding to her voice. Evan felt a strange warmth in his chest. In only a few hours, he had gone from lost explorer to the human standing beside a queen who changed her world. Lyra turned to him, her eyes soft. "You risked your life many times for me. You called me beautiful without fear." A faint smile touched her lips. "Those words almost killed you, but they also saved the crown." Evan smiled gently. "I didn't save a crown. I saved a person." She leaned slightly closer. "Then that person is grateful, more than you know." The forest wind moved softly between them. For the first time, she didn't hide her glow. For the first time, she didn't hide her feelings. Evan took her hand carefully, and she didn't pull away. Behind them, the soldiers rose and saluted their queen, not the throne, not the law, not the fear, but Lyra herself. Together, Evan and Lyra walked toward the approaching dawn, side by side. A human and an alien queen. And the galaxy would remember the day she chose kindness over fear. And a human who saw her heart instead of her crown.